container, male, female. We get the energy set right. We have them come in. We have them sit down. And my partner Sandra, she's amazing. She worked at Crossroads for a while. She's done a bunch of treatments, and she's an amazing, amazing caretaker. So we explain the procedure to the patient. We tell them what they can expect at a very, very broad level, because everybody is different, as we know at the Ibogaine as well. The 5-MeO, what comes with it has been described as an ego death. And so that returns us back to that true nature, that one part of self that we would concentrate on when they're with us. It's that one sense of just bliss, of just right here, right now, pure love. And it's a place that these people can return back to after. It's a very, very short glimpse, a very, very short window. But it's a place that they can return to. It's a place that they can come back to at a future date too. When they end up going home or preferably aftercare, it's one of those tools in the box that we were talking about. They can return back to this 5-MeO DMT experience. They can turn the lights out. They can sit for 20 minutes. They can reconnect back with that experience and be able to let those things go. The Ibogaine, when it comes in, it crushes all of this casting around that true self, that true nature, that artificial self that was created when we're children as a defense mechanism or whatever, with these false narratives. And so it's a very challenging, a very difficult thing to do. So that 5-MeO experience, it's a shock to the nervous system. The Ibogaine, after they do that 5, it's a deep breath. What else? Does anybody have any questions about 5-MeO DMT? Using it, yeah. Yes. Yes. We have not. We've, there's been some patients that we have chosen not to treat. There are some patients that have chosen not to do it, but we have not. And I spoke to a gentleman earlier who said that he had an issue with it at another time with dissociating and things like that. But as far as physiologically goes, no, we've never had an issue. And psychologically, we've never had an issue that way either. But I have. What's that? No issues with people because we get calls from people at other clinics. Yeah. Receive 5-MeO, and Annie's going to talk about it, I'm sure. Cool. But with people who get blown out and can't come back to well, we do like a reintegration afterwards. We take them down to the water. We bring them back. We make sure that they are back in their bodies with us. I have heard of people disassociating before on that, but we haven't had that issue.
I just didn't quite hear the question. I'm guessing that you're talking now about the adverse reaction of the dose.
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't had any in our clinic, no. No.
Yeah, well, we hear about it too.
Often, and we've seen it, and quite enough to mention that people have a tough time integrating, connecting on that level.
Yes. Yes.
And coming back
To reconnecting to communal reality
The main condition that I would say is a type of mania. That I've seen it all. I've touched God, I know it, all, and then coming back into being a mom or going to work. Or
Yeah, that's.
we do orthomolecular protocols. We put psychedelics down, tell people to put psychedelics down for a bit.
Absolutely.
And, get nourished and grounded. And we've done quite a few, like, over the years, more than a dozen
Yeah.
of those integrations from I5MEO specifically.
And Ibogaine together, or 5-MeO?
5-MeO after Ibogaine, and then also just 5-MeO.
From elsewhere.
Octavio Rede, we've integrated someone that had a really frightful experience with Octavio Rede.
Okay. Yeah, we do our sessions a little bit different than that, but yes.
How do you do such
How do we do them different? We have the patient sitting down first. We have a nice, comfortable, safe area. A nice fluffy blanket for the tactile stimulation when they're coming back. It's a very, very gentle thing, supposed to be. But there's different archetypes of the reaction to the 5-MeO. From the observer point of view, you can see some people scream, some people yell, some people thrash around, some people just lay back and be Buddha. But what's going on inside of them is a release. It's a huge energy release, and most of them have no idea how they're being observed. It's always a cathartic release, and it can be an ancestral release with these epigenetics that are passed down through the ancestries. That we aren't even responsible for. It can be a huge release of that, and it could go back and heal. It has the ability to heal that family line, and we also incorporate family constellation therapies, which does the same. Does the same thing. It's less invasive, obviously, as a huge Ibogaine treatment, and followed by 5-MeO, but. Yeah, and we do mindful meditation. We do, a lot less invasive things than those two medicines together. Those two are the big ones. But, these are all tools, like Elvira was saying yesterday. These are all tools in their toolbox. The only thing that I've heard from other places, like you guys, is this dissociation. I don't know about the mania, but I think it could be related, yes? What's that? Yes.
Posterity, Mara.
I'm wondering, I'm wondering for people who've been disassociated from their body due to childhood trauma, rapes, situations like that, or who are just beginning to reconnect to their bodies, because Ibogaine does really bring you back to yourself. People who've been maybe decades disconnected, disassociated. How do you judge when it might be better to let someone rest in who they really are rather than blasting them out of...
We talked to him. We we evaluate them. I mean, as best we can. Like the patients I said that we chose maybe not to offer that to, were still in the Ibogaine experience and still had some traumas coming up. Still had some issues that the Ibogaine was still working on, and it wasn't time for the 5-MeO. And for those people, we always invite them back down at a later date to come do that medicine with us. We think it's smart to wait rather than to push it. So it's a choice. everybody has a choice to do it or not. Most people say that, you know, when they come out of this medicine, the people that we're dealing with are addicts like ourselves, and when they come out of this medicine, their first response is usually, "I want to do that again right now." You wait about 20, 30 minutes after that, and then they start to realize this is a sacred place. This is a holy place. This is not somewhere that I need to go back to anytime soon. It was that glimpse. It was that glimpse of non-duality, that glimpse of oneness, that true nature that I was talking about earlier that stumbled through. But yeah, it's always that return to that true nature, that spot, that special spot. I mean, we've all felt it even without medicines. You know, out in nature, or a child being born. It's that one spot where you just know that you're in the exact right place, right at the right time. And it's not the extreme joy. It's just that feeling of being, that oneness, that glimpse. Yes.
My question is. Okay, so to follow up on Murr's question, do you use any, maybe another way of phrasing it is, are there any exclusion criteria? So, because I heard you say originally in your first part of your presentation that you offer it as a choice. And so, same thing as you just said, if people are coming for detox purposes, they are going to be inclined to, maybe more inclined than the average normal person, to say, yes, I want to take that. So, you know, that's where to me, there's an ethical question of whether some people are not the best candidates for that medicine, and that if we haven't been trained shamanically by the indigenous people who, you know, have learned about it for a long time, how do we know it's so powerful? You know, how do we?
Okay. Yes, it's extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful medicine, and not necessarily because they're addicts that they would choose to do that. A lot of addicts choose not to do that. That the Ibogaine is enough for them. Is plenty. The Ibogaine can get you to that true nature. It gives you glimpses of that true nature that we're talking about. It's just challenging, you know. It's work. It's big work. So as a visual person, I see the Ibogaine as kind of, and the 5-MeO is just, if that makes sense. All right.
I think going back to Rachel's question, she brought up a good point, which is exclusion criteria, and I'm wondering what you and other providers do. You know, we put so much emphasis on clinical safety in terms of cardiology and things like that, but what kind of screenings do people do regarding psych evaluation? Because I think that's critically important, especially when you're using other medicines adjunctively. That, you know, when Claire's talking about depersonalization and derealization, that I think are some of the original exclusion criteria that Howard set up for Ibogaine therapy. And I think, you know, it's been so hard just to come up with clinical guidelines for Ibogaine alone. When we're adding the adjunctive medicines, it's like it's a whole nother set of factors we have to figure in to do this right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Doug. The exclusion factors from doing the 5-MeO would be exclusion factors for doing Ibogaine with us. We have a psychotherapist who we refer to all the time to do psych evals on these patients beforehand. And if they're questionable, we won't even take them to do the Ibogaine. So they wouldn't be a candidate for the 5-MeO either. I mean, does that answer your question from this end? Okay. Oh yeah, it's a very very long. We have pages, 6 pages. Thank you guys. And I want to thank you all for making me feel welcome in this group. I am indebted to each and every one of you. And cheers to the OG.